Good afternoon on this wonderful Friday. Wow, I feel like I haven't been here for a while. Most Fridays for the month of December, I was either traveling or doing other stuff that took me away from these videos, and I've been missing it. So, no offense to our good friend Tim Lewis, who has been covering my back for me. Welcome back, low VA rates. Happy Red Friday. We wear red. Why? Just as a reminder, because we like to remember, that's R, everyone, that's E, deployed, that's D. R-E-D is remembering everyone deployed. And I've got one of our swag shirts on, as we call them here in our office. If you take a picture of yourself or one of your loved ones every Friday wearing red, take a picture of it, put it up on Instagram, Facebook, one of your social media threads, tag low VA rates, and add the hashtag Red Friday. We can send you out some amazing red swag so that you too can sport it and show everyone how much you support the military. With that, we're really excited today to be talking about a VA purchase checklist. So, purchase market is really, really hot. All of the economists and those people in the mortgage world that run analysis and they dig into the numbers, they expect the purchase market to be very, very hot in 2018. And so for you veterans out there, we want you to know exactly how to prepare yourselves and to prepare your documents, hence the checklist, so that when you are ready to buy a home this year or next year, you've got everything nice, in line, and in order, and the process will be not even a process, but it'll be more of an experience, and it will go very smoothly for you. So, now, at some point, you come back when we're not live and you watch this video on either YouTube or Facebook. We will try to put a link or embed this PDF that I just showed you, which is a version of a checklist that we use, and it's quite a few pages. Why? Because as you'll see today, to really be prepared for a good experience when buying your home with a VA loan, you want to make sure you have all the information necessary. Now, I can't cover it all today. You guys might lose interest, but I'm going to try to keep this interesting, and we're going to go through some of the basics. Number one, your personal information. Well, most of you are not going to have to gather personal information because you just know it, like your name, right? You're going to have your age, your address, stuff like that. That's what we mean by personal information. So when you get this worksheet from us, or whether you go online and fill out one of our online forms, or you even get a standard uniform loan application, at the beginning of most applications or worksheets, you're going to be asked to fill out your personal information. Now, there are some documents along with that personal information that you might want to make sure you have copies of, or that they're readily available when it's time. For example, your driver's license. You're going to have a copy of your driver's license. Now, if you don't drive or you don't have a driver's license, you can get government-issued ID. Okay, so government ID. Military ID doesn't work as far as getting approved for the loan, but it will help us make sure that we've got your name spelled correctly and we've got your personal information done correctly. Now, after you gather all your personal information and some of those documents that support that information, you're going to have to gather some military info. What do we mean by military info? Well, to get a VA loan, you have to have served in the military or possibly be actively serving now. So, DD-214, that's a document that most military members we speak with safeguard almost with their life. It's either in a safety deposit box, it's in a safe at home, or in a drawer somewhere. Now, if you've lost it or you can't locate it, this is not an absolute, you have to have the DD-214, but it certainly makes the experience less of a headache for you and for us. There's lots of information on that document that we need. Also, your COE, which is called your Certificate of Eligibility. You're not going to have this just lying around. This is something that we at Low VA Rates can help you get online through an automated system the VA has produced. As a lender, we can log in there and help you get that. Now, your DD-214 has information on it that helps us track that down. If you're on active duty, then we're going to need a letter, which is called a statement of service. Statement of service from a commanding officer, okay? Statement of service. That is for our active duty military. Those are some of the military forms and information that we're going to need. Next, employment or income. Now, we've talked about this before. If you're not employed, then you can still get a VA loan. That's why we also have income. But ultimately, what we're trying to accomplish here, we need some information on your employer and we also need to verify your income. So, for example, we're going to need W-2 forms. We're going to need the statements that you get every single year around tax time. We're going to need your W-2s, and we need them for 2 years. Okay, most of us have not received, nobody has received their 2017 W-2s yet. So if you were trying to get approved for a VA home purchase today, we would need your 2016 W-2s and your 2015 W-2s, okay? Now, if you're self-employed, then we need tax returns. All schedules, all pages, everything, all that boring stuff. You don't need to analyze it. We've got expert underwriters on staff that can do that for you, but we will need tax returns. And again, we need 2 years. Sometimes, if you're self-employed, we may even ask for a third year depending on what it is that you do, but for sure, 2 years worth of tax returns. Now, we need 30 days worth of pay stubs if you're employed. 30 days of pay stubs. If you get paid every single week, that means we need 4 pay stubs for the most recent month. If you get paid once a month, then we only need 1 pay stub, but you get my point. We need 1 full month's worth of pay stubs to make sure you're still making at least what your W-2s show that you have been making. There's some information on what we need for employment. Now, income, let's say you're not employed. You get pension. You're living off of your VA benefits alone. Or maybe you've got this huge trust fund that you've been living off of, and we need to see where you're getting your money. So we have to get either awards letters from the VA or from Social Security. If you're living off of investments, then we would need to get some statements showing that every single month that money is continuing to come in. Maybe you have an annuity. You have to document that income. After income, we go into liabilities. We could go over here to assets, but I'll just go to liabilities. There's not a whole lot you need to provide us, but most loan officers are going to ask you to list out your liabilities. Why? We need to make sure that you can afford the home that you're buying. That would be your credit card balances, car loan balances, any liability or debt that you have. Now, here's one that a lot of people forget, and we've heard horror stories of people that go and work with a VA lender that doesn't know what they're doing or haven't done enough loans, and it's called your child care costs. Imagine you get all the way up to where you're ready to close your loan, and then the VA underwriter comes back and says, oh, guess what? We notice you have 3 kids that live in your home based on your tax returns or based on your application that you have to provide child care costs for. There comes an age where that no longer is the case, but let's say they're all under the age of 12. How are you paying for their child care while you're at work? There is a very important part of the equation that comes in here, and we have heard people that got all the way up to closing or just before closing and their loan has been denied or canceled because their additional child care costs have thrown all the other equations that the underwriter has done or ratios right out the window. So run for the hills if you're working with a VA lender on a purchase loan who has not asked you about your child care costs. There's even a letter that you'll sign, a statement about child care. If they haven't done that, you're probably in for a pretty bad surprise. So that is a very important liability. Now, over here, assets. The great news on a VA loan, I'm going to turn this way. The great news on a VA loan, you don't have to bring any money to closing. If structured correctly, it is truly a no money down, no cash out of pocket transaction. Again, work with experts. The seller selling the home can cover some of your closing costs. The lender, that would be us, I hope, could cover some of your closing costs. Why would we need assets then? Well, they make you look stronger as a borrower. If you've got $10,000 sitting in a checking account, even though you don't need it to get a VA home loan, if you can provide proof of those assets, there are opportunities for you to be approved easier than maybe someone that doesn't have assets. Again, don't need it, but evidence of assets would be bank statements, okay? Bank statements. We normally want 2 months worth of bank statements, 2 months worth. Okay, you could have investment statements. I guess that's the same as a bank statement, but you could have investment statements. If you own real estate, then there's a form that you'll fill out called the real estate owned form where you list all the real estate you own, but those are your assets. And then ultimately on your property info, super important, and I'm going to save this because we've been going longer than I really want to today. We've done other videos on property requirements, inspection requirements for VA loans, but ultimately, for example, same thing with the child care costs. If you're dealing with a real novice VA lender and they haven't started asking you about the property types that you want to buy, not every condo is approved. Okay. Number two, let's say you're going to go buy in a very rural area of the country where you're on a well or you have a septic tank. Inspections have to be done. What if you have your own private gravel road that the city doesn't maintain? There's all sorts of additional information, so be careful. Just because you get approved for a VA loan and you go out and start looking at homes, working with an expert lender like Low VA Rates, we will help you determine if the property that you're going to go buy or attempt to purchase meets VA guidelines or not. So again, you'll notice there's quite a bit of paper here as far as what we refer to as our VA purchase checklist. Download a copy of it, start getting your stuff in order. We want to help you with your VA purchase when the time comes. So I covered a lot of information today. We normally open this up for questions. I don't know, Lance, do we have any questions so far? Okay, so I'm going to ramble for another about 30 seconds. It's not going to be rambling. I'm going to feed you some really good information, some important information. But if you're watching and we're live right now and you would like to ask questions or even share some experiences you've had, good or bad, with a VA purchase loan, please feel free to chime in live now. Again, we do these live videos every Friday right here on Facebook at 1:30 Mountain Standard Time. Remember, wear red on Friday. It is an outward expression of how we feel inwardly here at Low VA Rates. We love our veterans. Thank you for watching. Do we have any questions? If not, enjoy your weekend. Watch that National Football Championship on Monday. Big night. And we got a lot of fans here at Low VA Rates. So thanks for watching. This is Eric.